to the daily market recap. Today is 16th of September 2024. It's Monday. So I like to iterate the concepts that I usually refer to in the daily market recaps, and those are previous day high, previous day low, open high low close, and open low high close. Those are the candle formation, as well as power of 3. Times are extremely important. The fair value gaps, SMT, and the standard deviation to mark our profit targets. So let's start with the weekly chart. Last week we closed pretty bullish, and you could see we inverted this balanced price range. I would say that we inverted again, because initially we had a bearish move to the downside, and then we had an aggressive bullish move. So looking at the price action, we are almost about to re-invert, I would say, this bullish BISI. So going into the week, I am bullish. I want to see this high to be engaged. But that's the weekly analysis, right? We are more interested in looking at how price moves every day. So let's go down to the daily chart to see how price moved today. All right. So looking at the daily chart, past couple of days, last week, we have seen a bullish price action. Today is Monday, the 16th, and this is the candle that has already been printed. The next candle that you see, it's for tomorrow, and that is right now in progress. But we are focusing mainly on this bearish candle, which was today's daily candle. So again, it's Monday, it's a no news day. What that means is I am not expecting any large expansion moves. There is going to be a lot of consolidation that happens today. Now, since price has been moving higher, we have created these two BISIs. We have one fair value gap here, and we have another fair value gap right at the top here. And you could see today this first fair value gap was engaged, right? But what happens is, in such situation, we do not know whether the price is going to keep on going higher, or we are going to see a retracement into a fair value gap. So you could see, if you consider this as a significant high, you can say that on a daily chart we had a market structure shift right here. Price went high, and now it's retracing back into this PD array, as well as we have two PD arrays in line. So the first one, you can see it's already engaged, and we have completely balanced. So if we want to move higher, we should start seeing like expansion to the upside right from tomorrow, or we might create a low tomorrow, making a Tuesday low of the week weekly profile, and then start expanding higher to reach these highs which I have marked here, right? But looking into today, we want to understand why price moved lower, right? But if you consider previous week, all these days, it's difficult to predict beforehand that the price will re-engage one of these BISIs. We do not know that, right? Because ideally, you can see on Friday, we closed above Thursday's high. So ideally, if we are bullish, we want to see on Monday, price close above Friday's high, which it didn't happen. So to confirm my bias, even though I was bullish going into the day, I wanted to have a confirmation that price is truly bullish, because we are doing an intraday trading. We are not swing trading, at least I am not. That is why, even though the overall market view is nice, I want to see how price moves within that specific time frame where we are planning to trade. So what I like to do is go to the 4-hour chart and wait for the 6 a.m. candle to close, because that will give us a confirmation whether price is truly bullish in the short term, or we might see a retracement. So let's go down to the 4-hour and see like how price moved today. So here you could see this is our 6 a.m. candle. So the 6 a.m. candle, it printed bearish, and you could see that if you consider this 4-hour swing low as a significant swing low, you could say that hey, we had a market structure shift as well as change in state of delivery to the downside, right? And because of that, what happened here is we validated this bearish order block right at 6 a.m. So once we did that, my idea going into 10 a.m. was we might come up, re-engage this order block, and then move to the downside. So we have a good amount of time downside to come, at least for today. That's what my idea was going into 10 a.m. because we closed significantly bearish. So let's go to the 15-minute chart to see exactly how price moved. So now we are at our 15-minute chart, and I'm using this indicator just to show how 4-hour candles are being printed. It's a good idea to have a reference right at the side of the charts. Anyway, so let's start with the previous day high. So you can see the previous day high is here. It's Friday, and then we have Friday's low, which is previous day low. Let's start with the 6 p.m. 6 p.m. is our daily open. Remember, going into the week I am bullish, and going into the day I am bullish as well. The 6 a.m. candle makes me bearish in the short term, but if we start looking into the 6 p.m. daily open, I was bullish, so I wanted to see that price manipulate lower before we expand higher. Okay, so we can see that the price initially moved higher. We did not go lower, we moved higher, and then we had a retracement. We bounced off that 6 p.m. Again we moved high, and this is where we found our midnight open. We continued lower, we went high right around 4 o'clock. Now this is my experience. I have seen most of the reversals or most of the highs are formed between your midnight and 4:30 a.m. You could see right across that, around that 4:15 a.m. we made that high, and then we continued moving lower. We continued moving lower till 9:30. 9:30 we saw a big dump, and then we were moving higher. Now here is the interesting thing. Since 6 a.m. was about to close bearish, because at this point at 9:30 when we dumped, we still had like 30 minutes to go for 6 a.m. 4-hour candle to close. So what I wanted to see was, I wanted to see price go up but still close bearish, right? Validating this as a 4-hour order block, and then come close to tapping this order block and then continue lower. That was the idea. And on Mondays, what I like to do is I like to refer to the 5-minute chart rather than 15-minute, because it's going to be an accumulation day. So I go down to 5-minute chart. Okay, and what I did was, since now I was expecting price to close bearish, since we were 30 minutes out, I knew that this was probably the high of the day. So I marked this with the standard deviation to check the levels. See, the idea is, if price comes in and taps into your -2 to -2.5 standard deviation and quickly reverses out, that is a sign that it's potentially a reversal from here. However, at 9:30 we saw a strong move to the downside and we closed below -2.5. When you close aggressively below -2.5, there is a very likelihood that we are going to get the max expansion, which is -4. So after price moved heavily at the downside, I was waiting to see how price moves higher. Now here is the interesting portion. Let me add ES as well on this chart. So if you look at ES, this is the high, right, that we are talking about, and right at 9:30 on NQ we dumped, and then we started moving higher, and you could see the price was moving higher as well on ES, and ES was about to take this high. As soon as this high was taken on ES, we can tell that we have a significant SMT, and the reason why I'm saying significant SMT is because NQ had a lot more range to cover if it wants to truly be bullish. So as soon as price came here, we could see an aggressive move to the downside, and you could see at this point right around the 1020 mark we validated this up close candle as an order block. So we saw that there was a CB that was formed. You can wait for the CB to be engaged, but depends on like what style of trading you prefer. But in this situation, you could, I mean, this is what I do. Again, it's not a financial advice, but what I try to do is when the price closes, I try to jump into the trade if the risk to reward is fine, it looks promising, and then what I do is I keep my stop loss right around the mean threshold of this order block and try to aim for my target, which is the -4 standard deviation, which is max expansion. So this was like 1:3 hour trade, and you could see like we went tapped right at -4 and then started reversing out. So this was the only trade that I saw for today. I usually do not engage in the PM session, so I wasn't looking into the PM session price action, but this was a valid trade according to my model. We waited for the SMT, and then we saw how aggressive move to the downside, validating this up close candle to be an order block, and then we aimed for -4. And this trade idea was formed because we had aggressive move to the downside and we closed below -2.5 right at this 9:30 candle. This is very important because this gives a confirmation to us that we have much more downside to come, which is -4, right? And on top of this, when we compared it to ES, we saw that we were on the verge of forming an SMT, and we did. As soon as the SMT was formed, we started dumping. So that was the analysis for today. If you have any questions, do let me know, and we'll see how price reacts tomorrow. So again, going into tomorrow, I know that tomorrow has already started at 6 p.m, but you could see that we already have a CB in place now. So I would like to see how the overnight session behaves, and if this 4-hour CB gets disrespected, or we form a low, Tuesday low of the week, and then start to expand higher. So this is something that we'll have to just wait. But one more take is, whenever you are not sure about your bias, always wait for the 4-hour 6 a.m. candle to close. That will give a very good sign of how the market is going to move, at least for the next few hours. All right, thanks a lot for today. Again, this is not a financial advice. Do your own research, but let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.